Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Chloe Feng. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Hong Kong's leading commercial banks raised their best lending rates after a 4-month pause. Homeowners are urged to play a more active role to get better management services. And lawmakers give the thumbs up to a move to revamp the district councils. The city's commercial lenders are raising their prime rates after a 4-month pause, with HSBC taking the lead. This came after the Hong Kong Monetary Authority pushed its base rate to a 15-year high. As had been expected, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority raised its base rate by a quarter point to a 15-year high of 5.5%, with effect from tomorrow. This was in lockstep with the U.S. Federal Reserve, which lifted its benchmark rate by 25 basis points to between 5% and 5.25% to tackle inflation, which is at a 4-decade high. Hong Kong's de facto central bank also intervened in the currency markets to defend the local currency. Its latest move will reduce the aggregate balance to $44.5 billion, the lowest in 15 years. While the markets do not expect another U.S. rate hike for the rest of 2023, Monetary Authority Chief Executive Eddie Yue urged caution, adding that a rate cut is highly unlikely this year.
The future interest rate path in the U.S. will remain uncertain and will depend on incoming economic data and development. Also, the recent financial distress of individual U.S. regional banks has caused credit tightening.
After a 4-month pause, HSBC has taken the lead among the city's commercial lenders and will increase its best lending rate by 12.5 basis points to 5.75% tomorrow. Bank of China Hong Kong and Standard Chartered followed suit, raising their prime lending rates also by 12.5 basis points, but from Monday. This will add to the burden of homeowners, as the 1-month HIBOR, or the Hong Kong interbank offered rate, is pegged to most new housing loans. HIBOR has risen for the 11th consecutive session to a 4-month high of over 3.6%. A 12.5 basis point rise in the best lending rate could mean that a typical $5 million 30-year mortgage loan will push the monthly payment by an extra $350 to over $22,000.
The public should be prepared for the movement of banks' lending rates, and they should carefully assess and manage the relevant rates, especially the interest rate rates, when making property purchase, taking out mortgages, or making other borrowing decisions.
Despite uncertainties, Yue said the city's financial system is stable, but the authorities will monitor financial developments overseas. A third school will not be able to admit Primary 1 pupils in the coming academic year because the number of applicants fell one short of the required 16. Li Wenkai, principal of St. Charles School in Kennedy Town, expressed a disappointment with the Education Bureau's decision. He said some potential students were not able to come to Hong Kong to register for a spot during the time that the border was closed. A school in Cheung Chau, which is in the same boat, has applied to run Primary 1 classes privately. The Cheung Chau Church Kam Kong Primary School said its sponsoring body will pay the fees. The Consumer Council has urged homeowners to be more proactive on property management issues. The watchdog found that many owners said they could not spare the time to be more involved. Janice Low reports.
Homeowners spend an average of around 7% of their monthly household income on management fees, but the service often does not live up to expectations. The conclusion follows a 2-year research during which the Consumer Council interviewed more than 20 property management companies and 1,000 homeowners. The firms believed that their service quality met at least 70% of their target, but fewer than 60% of the owners agreed. However, only 1 in 10 owners knew how to terminate unsatisfactory services. The watchdog pointed out that homeowners were generally passive on management issues. A more active owners group could minimize the rate of increase in management fees, but 97% of the interviewees were reluctant to join owners' corporations. Most said they had no spare time. The council suggested using mobile apps to increase homeowners' engagement on property issues.
The relevancy of information is very important. If you are using the app to notify them anything related to your buildings or any alert, the content are relevant to them. They will keep tracking the information from that app. That build up the habits of referring information to the app.
Wong urged the government to work with technology companies to develop such an app.
A capital works fund with a 10-year maintenance plan is crucial, according to the consumer watchdog. Regular mandatory contributions could help owners avoid a massive financial burden when confronted with a substantial one-off fee. Janice Low, HKIBC.
About 1,500 youths have joined officials to mark the 104th anniversary of China's May 4th movement. Members of 19 uniformed groups marched in Golden Bohemia Square in Wanchai this morning before a flag-raising ceremony. Their representatives took an oath to love the country and uphold its sovereignty. The event commemorates a movement in 1919 when thousands of students protested against transferring parts of Chinese territory to Japan. The anniversary now serves to promote patriotism among young people. Most lawmakers have come out in support of the government's overhaul of district councils, but some were concerned about parts of the radical changes. Macy Mock reports.
Members of the revamped district councils could be suspended if they fail to carry out tasks assigned by the government. The proposal worried lawmaker Paul Tse at a legislative council meeting with officials who drafted the overhaul. Tse said the 88 directly elected district councillors, who will be in a minority, might be afraid to criticize government proposals. This, he argued, could deprive officials of hearing opposing opinions. In reply, Home Minister Alice Mack said district councillors will be judged on whether they have fulfilled their responsibilities rather than the opinions they collected from the public. Centrist legislator Tik Chi-yun was concerned that the credibility of district councils will be hurt as they are required to promote government policies. Constitutional Affairs Chief Eric Tsang said that would not be a problem. He also defended the move to slash the number of directly elected seats. He alleged that citizens' welfare was neglected by the current district councils, whose term expires at the end of the year. This, according to Zhang, showed that it's not an advantage to have more directly elected members. Like most of her colleagues, Jovi Chan of the Federation of Trade Unions supported the revamp. She pressed for the appointment of a sufficient number of youth representatives to the district councils. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Overseas, a war of words has erupted between Russia and Ukraine after a drone exploded over the Kremlin. Moscow accused Ukraine of trying to assassinate President Vladimir Putin and warned that it has the right to retaliate. During a visit to Finland, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky denied the allegation. In a hint to his Western backers, Zelensky said he doesn't have enough weapons for an attack outside his borders. Putin was not at the Kremlin during the drone incident. India's top wrestlers have offered to surrender their medals after clashing with police in the capital, New Delhi.
The athletes were demanding the arrest of Wrestling Federation chief Brij Bhushan Singh. They accused him of sexually abusing female wrestlers. A row erupted last night when officers refused to allow the athletes to bring temporary beds to their protest site near Parliament. The demonstrators claimed they were manhandled, but police denied the allegation. 2 complaints have been filed against Singh, who is also a member of Parliament, but he has yet to be questioned by the authorities. Hong Kong's retail sales have marked their strongest monthly growth, jumping 40.9% in March from a year ago. The value of total purchases was $33.6 billion, compared with $33.1 billion in February. Footwear, allied products, and other clothing accessories jumped 188%, almost double from March last year. That was followed by a 165% annual increase in sales of jewelry, watches, clocks, and valuable gifts. After rising for 4 straight months, retail sales are expected to maintain their upward momentum, boosted by the rebound in tourism and the distribution of consumption vouchers. And now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed up 249 points. Top 10 active stocks, Tencent down $1.60, Ping An up $4.25, and Tracker Found up 28 cents. CCB up 21 cents and Meituan up 70 cents. Bank of China up 13 cents. Forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro is at 8.69, British pound at 9.87, and Australian dollar at 5.24. Moving on to the UK market, the London FTSE is currently down 67 points. The U.S. Federal Reserve has indicated that it may take a break from its streak of 10 rate hikes, which have raised the cost of borrowing.
A decision on a pause was not made today. You will have noticed that in the statement from March, we had a sentence that said the committee anticipates that some additional policy firming may be appropriate. That sentence is not in the statement anymore. So that's a meaningful change, that we're no longer saying that we anticipate. And so we'll be driven by incoming data, meeting by meeting, and we'll approach that question at the June meeting.
The rate increases that began in March last year have more than doubled mortgage rates. They also made it more expensive for businesses to borrow, raising fears that a recession is around the corner. Powell insists that prices must come down. U.S. inflation has dropped from a peak of 9.1% last June to 5% in March, but remains above the Fed's target of 2%. And on to the weather now. It will be hot and sunny during the day tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 26 and 31 degrees. Showers with occasional thunderstorms over the weekend. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. And that is our main news for Thursday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Chloe Feng. Thanks for watching. Good night.